If you haven't heard already, peak noise mixing is fake news. So here is step by step how you can balance a mix like a pro, and you're not going to believe how easy it makes driving your mix bus, tweaking individual elements and changing the shape and style of the mix on the fly. 3 elements: kick, bass, vocals. Now, I learned this originally 6-7 years ago back from Matthew Weiss on one of his workshops, and it's stuck with me. It makes such perfect sense. All contemporary music, the energy, the drive of the track is in the low end, the rhythmic, the thickness of it, and the focal point is the vocal. So to start this, we want the fundamental of the kick, the fundamental of the bass to sit perfectly. I'm not too concerned if I'm at -6 or -12 or whatever. That's something we'll deal with later. Also, just to mention, this is the kick and the snare because that's how the producer sent the stem across. So we're just going to work with focusing on the fundamental of the kick here. We can manipulate the snare later if we need to. So see there, at 57 hertz, the fundamental, the kick is about 34 decibels, okay? Now let's go to the bass. Okay, so this bass line is moving through a few different registers. Those higher registers, I can't match -34 decibels because they're about an octave higher, and the kick drum doesn't have energy in that octave to compete with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to solo those lowest notes that cross over with the kick drum and level it to that. So the peak of that's about 32.7. We'll bring it down 1.3 dB. Let's just see how the kick and the bass sort of fit together. Now those fundamentals are all pocketed. Come on, that's just from the get-go. Those low notes can still be heard. All the little details are still good. This is the first part of the foundation. So kick, bass, good, lead vocals. Now, that I use Insight. Now, something with the lead vocals, which is really important to consider, is where the lowest fundamental the vocals are. If the lowest fundamental is much softer than the fundamentals of the bass and the kick, it's going to get lost. If it's much louder, it's going to sound overpowering. That's not good. That's not what we want.
Can't escape this feeling. Coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this feeling. Coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this feeling. Coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that kick drum off just for the meantime, because there's a little bit more overlap between those high notes in the bass and the vocal. So we'll just lock into that.
Yeah. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this fear. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this fear. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this fear. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this fear. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this fear. Took a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5.
Okay, so that's a good pocket. The low end of the snare drum is poking a little bit too hard, but again, that's later sort of mix issues to deal with. Now we've got those 3 elements. Let's just have a listen. Is this a vibe? Is this feeling good? Is it grooving well? Because then we're going to do some things with the mix bus to dial our peak level or our gain staging in, and then we're going to bring all the other elements in and show you some crazy shit.
I can't believe I didn't see it. Took a a sip of coffee, you left me wanting more. Working 9 to 5 and I just can't escape this feeling. It's getting too hard out here. I need a break from things, it's clear. Oh, I'm drowning in this atmosphere. Take me away from here.
I can hear the thump of the kick. I can hear each of the bass notes. The vocals sit in a really good pocket. It's not too loud like it's on top of it, and it's not buried underneath. This is a good starting point. So the next thing we're going to do here is on my mixing template, I have VCA faders for everything, and we've got the VCA fader for all of my audio channels. And what we're going to do is we're going to gain stage into the mix bus -6 decibels. Not because -6 decibel full scale sounds better, just because for consistency's sake, I can set up my mix bus chain and drive into it as I start to mix. And that just means I know the sort of tone, I know the sort of energy that's going to come through that mix bus. So let's use this VCA fader all for this. Let's go.
I just can't escape this feeling. It's getting too hard out here. I need a break from things, it's clear.
I'm at -5.4 at Unity. That was by chance. I did not mix it. Like, I didn't know I was going to hit that number. Usually I have to use this VCA fader and go up or down a little bit. But basically, yeah, we're right in the pocket, which is great. So let's set up the mix bus. Now, everybody's going to set up their mix bus a bit differently. I can get rid of infrasonic there. For me, I like to have a hard clipper at 6 and then a soft curve into that hard clipper. Some people want to have a compressor. Some people want to have a saturator, different chains of things, and that's fine. The thing is, at the peaks, you want to be pushing into those peaks a little bit on all of your louder elements and know how it's going to react. So for anybody that's seen the video of me going through the Soft Clip Pro, there's a little bit of detail here we can extenuate. So what we're going to do is we're going to get plugin doctor, okay? And in plugin doctor, we're going to get standard clip. And I'm going to show you exactly why and how I'm going to set up my clipper on the mix bus in a certain way. So as I'm mixing and getting levels into it, I get a natural sort of saturation or compression into the ceiling, which then allows me to make things much louder. It allows me, it's like an auditory cue if things start to get a bit too crunchy or a bit too hot or something's too loud. So let's get that on there. Standard clip. There we are. Yeah, that's okay. Of course, let's go over here. Where are we? Dynamic. So we're going to go -20. So what we want to do is I want to have the ceiling at 6. So just like this, it's pretty much just a hard clipper. So anything that goes over -6, all those little offshoots and peaks are just going to get chopped off, which is fine. It's usually 5, 6 samples. You don't hear that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in Soft Clip Pro. Soft Clip Pro. And the portion, so actually let's make this -32. So we've got a better gain scale here. So from -6 down to -10, I want to slowly roll off into that peak, okay? So the way to do that is if we see here -6, if we bring this down so it says 8 decibels, we know that from 10 decibels to 6, it's actually got a tangent curve rolling into that ceiling. So as things start to get hotter, they slowly start to get rounded off a bit before they hit that ceiling. So that's the setting I use on my mix bus there. Soft Clip Pro, 17%, -6, okay? So let's go over to here and we'll just set that up and you'll get an idea of how this sounds and what it looks like. So -6, 17%, Soft Clip Pro, and then you'll just see this hit it just slightly at the top.
I need a break from things, it's clear. Oh, I'm drowning in this atmosphere. Take me away, take me.
And you can just hear that completely fills up those 3 sounds there. So if I go before and after.
I need a break from things, it's clear. Oh, I'm drowning in this atmosphere. Take me away from here.
I know that's a louder comparison, but basically what this is doing is it's just starting to softly saturate as you get close to that ceiling, which just how I've been mixing recently, and it's a fun way to mix. So there's much more that we're going to go through still. So we've got the foundation, the kick, bass, and vocals done. We have the mix bus dialed in, and now the beauty of this mix bus being dialed in, if we want to drive it hotter, things like trap music or drum and bass and stuff like that, if I want to drive and get a bit of crunch into that soft clipping, I can just use this fader here and drive all the channels up. Or if I want to back it off because things are getting too hot, I can just pull this down. But that's not really the point. Now we have to balance all the other elements in. When it comes to building out all the other layers, I try to find the section of the track with the most amount of shit going on, which is this passage here. I've got a lickety split guitar, a lead guitar, a rhythm guitar, 2 breakdown guitar pairs, a pluck, and the chords. So let's just actually solo all these guitars. And we might just get rid of that and go to where's my guitar group. Make these all unity. What's actually playing here? There's a lot of things going on there. What do we got? We've got these chords. That's more background feel. That's a nice movement sort of sound. I want to hear this against the vocals because this almost feels like a counter melody, this section here. The duplicate is, again, from the original mix. I don't know why that's there. I'm just going to make that inactive. But yeah, I want to hear that against the vocals.
From here, I need some space. From here, I need some space.
Interesting. It could be counter to vocals, so that might be a first anchor point that we go to when we're mixing the level. Let's look at the chorus loop. That's a counter to the counter, so that's more background. Then we've got the lickety split. What's going on here? This is gold, gold. This is what's going to fill out that sound and get people funking to it. What's on the rhythm guitar? Background-ish. So what we're going to first focus on, we've got lead guitar. Okay, so I just pop up whatever the fuck's up there. Lead guitar. The chords go all the way through, but they're more of a pocket. So we might actually start with the chords and fit them somewhere underneath the vocals, and then focus to blend this lead guitar in with it. And this is about being selective. You're not going to do this with pink noise. You're not going to be able to make creative decisions like this when you've got fucking pink noise going. So silly. So silly, these pink noise. They're like flat earthers. Seriously. All right, let's get rid of that. We're going to bring all these down and let's start mixing.
A break, 'cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here. I need a take me away from here. I need a break, 'cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here. I need
Hint, I'm currently monitoring in mono and very, very soft. I just want to hear the tops of these guitar hits come through.
take me away from here. I need a break, 'cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here. I need some space.
I can just get the top out. The body still sustains enough with the vocal, which is good. Now these lead guitar, it needs to funk. It needs to funk hard. If it doesn't, the whole mix sucks.
From here, I need a break, 'cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here.
What I'm going to do, and this is, again, creative mixing. Those beats on the down of the 2 and the 4 that hit with the clap, I want this guitar to, like, shoot out at the same time. And again, we're only using levels, no effects. I'm not going to be doing effects in this video. This is purely levels and thinking and creative thinking. So, kick, snare, guitar. I want the slap of the guitar on the 2 and 4 to be forward enough that it cuts with that snare.
I need from here, I need a break. 'Cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here. I need from here, I need a break.
At the moment, the top end's helping the snare carry through with the vocals, but this lead guitar's a little bit dull and not allowing it to move through. So instead of EQing the top end, I'm just going to bring the overall guitar up, and then later on when we have to process, I might bring some of the mid-range back down to compensate.
From here, I need a break. 'Cause I ain't getting younger. Take me away from here. I need some space.
So I'm going to fast forward to the final mix I finished off for the client and show you exactly how you can use these foundations to change the tone of the mix. And by change the tone, I mean completely shape it, make it a very warm mix, make it a very bright mix, make it a very punchy mix, make it a very controlled mix. Because we have the great foundations, kick, bass, vocals, solid, good job. And then we've found the heart, the funk here, the lead guitar, it's pushing. And then there are other elements which I mixed in, and I can go through them all, but we'll be here forever. So I'm going to pull up the final mix and then show you how you can use these foundations when you're leveling your mix to manipulate the mix. So when a client comes back and they're like, I want a warmer mix, I want a punchier mix, or I want a more controlled mix, it's too punchy, you can do that straight away on the fly, okay? And it still holds its integrity, its strength as a mix. Let me pull up that session. Take me away, where are you, Jess? Octave E. Boop, boop, bounce, cuts, do it on the green. All right. All right. So now here is this is the actual final mixing session, which I signed off with the artist. There's a lot of cool things, a lot of cool processing going on, but I promise you something, changing the tone. Now this is where the magic of the VCA fader comes in, because I've got everything compartmentalized here. Okay. So using Luca Predalesi's technique, kick, low perk, high perk, I can change the tone of the drum mix on the fly. I've got the bass all on one fader, the guitars, synths, lead vocal. This all goes into my VCA. This is all controlled. I can all macro control this from the VCA all fader and drive in to this clipper here. So what we're going to do is we're going to play. I'm just going to play with it on the fly, driving into the clipper, coming down, manipulating the tone of the drums, coming down, and the mix is going to hold. It's going to hold the whole time. The tone will change, shift, but the relative balance of the kick, bass, vocals is always going to stay the same, with the exception of actually changing the lead vocal. Everything is going to stay tight. So first, let's start by just driving into the mix bus, getting a little bit of that soft clip saturation on the top, because we've got that set up with the VCA all fader.
It's getting too hard out here. I need a break from things, it's clear. Oh, I'm drowning in this atmosphere. Take me away, take me away.
So we only had about 2 dBs we could push into it before it started to crunch up, but it gives us that option. If we want to get some intense, sort of louder sort of sound, we can do that. But what about if we want to make a warmer, stripped back sort of sound? What we're going to do is we're going to pull the high perks and the guitar down. The high perks, all the hi-hat little bits, the guitar is all that detail in the instrumentation, so it's a bit more raw sort of sound, but the mix will still balance. This is the beauty of it. Take a listen.
From here, hey, take me away from here. I need a break from things, it's clear. Oh, I'm drowning in this atmosphere. Take me away from here.
So that's a more stripped back, a bit more raw. The guitars aren't as energetic. The hi-hats aren't as forward. It's a bit more warmer. Now let's go the opposite way with the high perks and the guitars. Let's actually bring them up so they're a little bit more poppy. They're a little bit more bright, the overall mix, because you've got more hi-hats. You've got more twang of the guitar. So this is what I'm talking about when it comes to foundations, setting up your mix bus so I can drive into this or I can pull it back if it's getting too hot, and then also being able to manipulate the tone of the mix. And I've got these VCA faders all set up here to control my mix. That's where the magic is. It's really the fact that my kick, my bass, my vocal will stay relatively the same, but I can manipulate the balance of these other elements around it on the fly, even though I've got stacks of guitars and a couple of synths and the orchestral, and then I've got stacks of BVs. I can control all of them independent of the rest. Now, pink noise mixing won't give you this. Pink noise mixing, you'll just be listening and popping volumes and not really paying attention to the music because you're just like, oh, can I hear it? Yes, no, that's good. That makes no sense. This makes sense. I do this every day, mixing like this. Kick, bass, vocals, solid, cool. What elements are going to work with it? What elements are going to help drive it? Good. Okay, I've got my mix bus set up so that way I can drive it and get it hot into the curve of a clipper, or I can pull it back and leave it open. But I get that choice as the mixing engineer, not Pink Noise. Pink Noise doesn't give you that choice. I get that choice because that's the way this is set up. Anyway, that's it. Tomorrow, actually, I've got a wild one tomorrow. Tomorrow, this is my plan. If you say to the end of this video, that's really good. You get the inside scoop for what I'm thinking of doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm thinking of making like a compendium. Okay, so I'm going to make a big spreadsheet. All the things related to how I run the studio in terms of 800, 900 projects a year to do with finances, marketing, managing sessions, sending files, communicating with clients, onboarding clients. I'm going to try and make the most massive, stupid list and share all my experiences with you because I have a feeling that YouTube is... Oh, thanks. No worries. Sorry, now I'm at the end of the video. I can be a little bit more loose like this. I have a feeling that YouTube, myself, I glorify these awesome techniques. These are fun. This is like what we live for as mixing engineers, but this doesn't tell you the story about what happens at the studio in terms of behind the scenes, the hair that we lose. See my receding hairline? So I really want to put that together for you guys tomorrow. Keep me accountable. If I don't, I'll kick myself in the ass. All right? Until next time, take care.